So where are we with this self-directed learning cycle? We started talking about goals and how to identify what to work on next. We talked a little bit about SMART goals, and then we got onto using the week screen to make goals and chunk them, which started getting to planning. And then it started getting confusing because I talked about how in order to make a better plan, you have to reflect and therefore track what works on each time that you do it. And so it's really a cycle for a reason because all of this kind of goes in together. Then we actually started talking about different strategies that you can use and study skills and how the platform is full of a salad bar of resources. And all of that fits in with finding the right resources to build a plan and then using them to actually learn. But once you've done the learning, it's time to show. It's time to actually demonstrate that you've done, that you're ready to go. So once again, those resources, which I am linking on the description of the video down below, are great ways to check yourself to make sure that you're in that case. First, taking the diagnostic one more time within the actual platform to make sure that you're truly ready to go. If you study a study list, you've checked marked all that, you know that you define all the key terms, you know that you have facts for every single one of the objectives, you've done the basics. Then how can you check yourself? How do you know that you're truly ready? So there's a few things that I told you that you can use attached on the description down below. The focus area tour is one of them. If you go through the questions here, it will guide you through each of the steps of the process, including step 4, which is whether or not you are ready. But I like the checklist even better because it will actually break it down. How do I know that I'm truly ready, that I've done the learning? And how can I and will I be able to show it? So after you actually take the test, you can come back here and continue reflection. I showed it because I did this. I showed it because I did that. So that a focus area checklist is my favorite way to guide and track you throughout the process of learning this. And then you have the content readiness assessment, which is, again, a series of questions you have to ask yourself to see if you're ready to take that test. So I strongly recommend that you use these. But in my school, the teachers will also force you to do this because when you go to take the test, you're actually going to have to talk to the teacher. Here's my notes. This is how I studied. These are the resources that I accessed. This is how long I spent working on this. The teacher will actually maybe even ask you a couple of key terms to make sure you actually know it. So the teacher will serve actually as a last check, and then you'll get approval after you request a test. So that is in itself a way to check that if you're ready to show your case, your learning. But I strongly recommend that you use one or some of these handouts that I have in the description down below that are also linked in the onboarding document because it's a great way to check yourself to see if you're truly ready to show. Showing, especially when it comes to content assessments, actually means doing it, right? Passing the test, getting it done. So if you look at the focus area checklist, that means you took the content assessment using your text-taking skills, you've read all the questions carefully, you double-checked your answers, you showed your work, and you summarized what you know about the topic, and you took the time with your content assessment, etc. Right? So you actually break it down how you demonstrated that. And of course, if the system gives you a check mark, that means you did show your learning. And now that we've talked about showing, we only have one step left, which is this idea of reflecting. And we'll talk more about that in the next video.